When you hear the word Silk Road, you might think of a single road paved with silk. In reality, it was more like a spiderweb of paths connecting East Asia with the Mediterranean. It got its name from the lucrative silk trade that flowed along these routes, which were established around 200 BCE during the Han Dynasty and remained in use until about 1450 CE. That's over 1,600 years of world history. The sheer length of the Silk Road network was made up of multiple routes, stretching over 4,000 miles or 6,000 kilometers. At its eastern end, the routes originated in Chang'an, which is present-day Xi'an, and other Chinese cities like Luoyang. From there, they headed west through Central Asia into Persia and eventually reached their western terminus at the Mediterranean Sea. Along the way, the paths traversed rugged terrain, including the Pamir Mountains, the Hindu Kush, and the Karakoram mountain ranges. As you can imagine, traveling such a long distance with precious cargo was no easy feat, but merchants were eager to overcome the obstacles because the rewards were just as great. Silk, the commodity that gave the trade route its name, was highly prized in the Mediterranean for its exquisite quality. While silkworms had been domesticated in China as early as 500 BCE, the technology to make silk was closely guarded and its export was carefully controlled. This meant that silk was both expensive and rare in the West, making it a highly sought-after luxury good. But silk was only one of many valuable items that traveled along the Silk Road. Chinese merchants carried a wide variety of goods to the Mediterranean, including tea, porcelain, spices, jade, gold, and ivory. From the perspective of the Chinese, who had not yet discovered silver, the most valuable item they received in return was glass. The art of glass making was first developed in Mesopotamia, but by the time it reached China, glass objects could be made in a variety of vibrant colors, including blue and green. Chinese merchants also brought home textiles, glassware, precious metals, and gemstones from the Mediterranean. In particular, they coveted the colorful glass produced in Syria, which was said to be of unparalleled beauty. While merchants reaped the financial rewards of trading along the Silk Road, the network also benefited rulers and their empires. For example, when Jiang Qian set out on his mission to find allies against the Xiongnu, he ended up in what is today Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. His journey opened the eyes of the Chinese emperor to the riches of the Western regions, as he called them, and provided the rationale for expanding the empire. Subsequently, the Han Dynasty sent numerous diplomatic and military missions to the Tarim Basin in order to secure the region and establish trade. In addition to facilitating trade between empires, the Silk Road also played a significant role in the exchange of ideas, inventions, and innovations. For example, papermaking, which had been invented in China around 100 BCE, was transmitted to the Islamic world via the Silk Road. Similarly, gunpowder, which had been developed in China for use in fireworks, found its way to the Middle East where it was incorporated into military applications. The Silk Road also facilitated the spread of religions. For example, Buddhism traveled from India to China along the Silk Road and eventually became one of the major religions in China. Likewise, Christianity and Islam spread from the Middle East to Central Asia via the Silk Road. While the Silk Road facilitated cultural and technological exchange, it also led to some negative consequences. One of the most significant was the spread of diseases. For example, the plague that originated in Central Asia and traveled along the Silk Road to China and the Mediterranean, killing millions in its wake. Other less dramatic consequences included the introduction of new invasive species to ecosystems and the spread of new technologies that disrupted local industries. Despite these challenges, the Silk Road remains an important part of world history. The trade route facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, and innovations between the East and the West for over 1,600 years. It helped to connect the world in unprecedented ways and had a profound impact on the development of human civilization. Today, the legacy of the Silk Road lives on in the modern world. The ancient paths have been replaced by modern highways and trade routes, but the spirit of international trade and cultural exchange that defined the Silk Road continues to thrive. Thank you for watching. Do you want to know more about the Silk Road? Click here to watch the next video.